gonna give up. Oh, back now? Well, thank you. Okay, so write this down. You are taking measurements. Trial number 1 is 10.4 grams per milliliter. And trial number 2 is 10.6 grams per milliliter. So if you're given this data, or if you're doing an experiment and these are your 5 measurements, in order to express your precision, and this is just something that sort of you use an average of your measurements, to express it properly, I guess, what you would do is you would take an average of all of these, but then you would indicate what your precision or percent error sort of thing would be. Okay? And it's not calculated exactly the same. It's actually pretty easy, but let me just go over an example. So let's add all these up with the calculator. So 52.4 is the sum. How do I find the average? Divide by 5 now. Okay, so you got by 5, you get 10.48. Very good. So 10.48. Now, how many sig figs should I use? Should I have to round this? I guess you kind of have to do, right? Because you did some dividing, you did some adding. 3 sig figs. Okay. Now, technically, if we divide by 5, that's not really a number where sig figs apply, is it? That's not a precise measurement. That's just a counting number. So, really, you really could just use the 1 decimal place. It's like this is just an adding question. But just for simplicity's sake, let's say we have to round this to 10.5. Okay? 10.5. Now, the other part of it is you would say this is 10.5 is my average, although there is some error here. And what's the error? Well, sometimes how that is represented is plus or minus, and I'm just going to write it out in words here, half of the range of the measurements. Half of the range. And do you know what the range is? Anybody remember what the range, if you're talking about measurements, what the range is? No, yes? So you have a range of measurements. Well, it's from the lowest one to the highest one. So it's basically the difference between the smallest and the largest. Okay? So in here, we'd say the range, what's our largest measurement? 10.6. What's our smallest measurement? 10.4. What's that? 0.2. Okay? So that's the range from the smallest all the way to the top. The average would be in here somewhere. And what you'd want to do here then is say, okay, so my average is 10.5 plus or minus half of the range, or 0.1. 10.5 grams per milliliter plus half of the range. So you're basically saying that that's my average, but really I could be off within 0.1, and that's what it looks like, right? 10.5 is the middle. They could be off by 0.1 either way. So you find the average, and you express it as plus or minus half of the range. And that's a way to express your precision. It indicates to the reader how close your measurements are. If this number is big, that means your measurements were not very they weren't very precise, were they? Right? They were all over the map. Okay? All right.